What's up, guys? It's Zero here, bringing you all a brand new episode of the Gears Cast. Welcome everyone to the Gears Cast, the best Gears of War podcast here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, very grateful for each and every one of you for taking a little bit of some time out of your day or night to join us for this episode of the Gears Cast. And as people are gradually joining us in our quaint show and our quaint space here at Zero Dark, I am really excited about the future of Gears of War. And we're going to be, of course, talking about Gears. Anthony Morano says, yo, what's up, Anthony? How you doing, brother? We are going to be talking about, everything in the world of Gears of War. Plus, we're going to give you guys some insight into what it all means. And we're even going to be talking about a couple other games as well, which we'll get to here in a bit. But the state of Gears of War is a really interesting one. And someone who covers Gears of War on YouTube and is a content creator around Gears. I wasn't always a content creator around Gears of War. I mean, we started this channel, guys, back in 2018 in relation to, more StarCraft, actually. StarCraft 2, the StarCraft ecosystem, and I did that for about a year, and then we transitioned into talking about other Blizzard games, and then we started talking about a wide range of so many different games, created so much content on the channel in relation to, you name it, guys. We've talked about it here on the YouTube channel. More than anything, though, the future of gaming and the future of esports and things of that nature. And so what I want to do here tonight is kind of more than anything just have real conversations with all of you about the state of Gears of War Reloaded, Gears of War E-Day, and what it could all mean for the future of the franchise. Because there's been a lot of things that have transpired. We are officially in Gears of War Reloaded month. Yes, guys, it's August, and yeah, it's going to be here before you know it. Gears of War Reloaded is, when we really look at it, it's right around the corner. August 26th, guys, it's going to be here before you know it, and we're going to have our hands on that game, that title, that I believe will, in some ways, be a great introduction for, people who have never played a Gears of War title before, in the form of like PlayStation users specifically. And it'll be somewhat of a timestamp or a blip in time for those of us who have been passionate about Gears of War since the very beginning. It'll definitely, I've stated this a lot, it'll quench our thirst, that being the old school, not even old school, but even the people who have been playing Gears of War even as recently as Gears 5, Gears of War 4. This is designed to quench our thirst for Gears of War E-Day, which I don't know if it's going to be able to do that for the full year, because Gears of War E-Day is scheduled to come out next year, which I believe it'll be a Halloween release next year. Question is, though, are we going to play the game that long? Are we going to play Gears of War Reloaded until it, until E-Day inevitably comes? And I think that if the Coalition properly structures this thing from a marketing perspective, we will absolutely be playing Gears of War Reloaded until E-Day comes out. And I'll explain why. When you think about it, guys, Gears of War Reloaded, it being, the first Gears title we have had, even though it's a remaster, since Gears 5. It's been years, right? 5, 6 years now since we've been waiting. and waiting. Anthony says, I just don't see Reloaded lasting long, man. Yeah, I totally understand that, man. But here's my train of thought. If the Coalition markets things properly for Gears of War E-Day, think of it like this. We are going to, let's just say, the first couple of months of Gears of War Reloaded, you know, all hands on deck within the Coalition for Gears of War Reloaded, getting it to, you know, a very functional, you know, fixing any bugs, glitches, any issues, weapon balancing, so on and so forth. But what Gears of War Reloaded can be used for is marketing for Gears of War E-Day. So I believe that Gears of War E-Day is going to be the direct next year for the Xbox Game Showcase. And so what I think is from the Coalition's perspective, they just need to figure out a way to get us to the Xbox Game Showcase. Because I think that once everybody sees more info about Gears of War E-Day, it's going to get a lot of excitement going. You know, I think when they show gameplay and footage and all of that, they can market Gears of War E-Day within Gears of War Reloaded, within the game. And I think that's going to create a lot of buzz and excitement for the future of Gears. You give these PlayStation users a period of time to play Reloaded, kind of get caught up on where we are from, you know, the first game's perspective, and then Gears of War E-Day, they can start plugging the marketing through Gears of War Reloaded. And I think that's going to get a lot of people excited. Maybe not so much just for, you know, Gears of War Reloaded for the remainder of the year, but I think it's going to get a lot of people like, okay, I need to lock in and play Gears of War Reloaded because the mechanics might be slightly different with E-Day, but it's Gears of War, and this is the most recent one, and so you got a lot of people playing it as they're getting hyped up for Gears of War E-Day. I think that if you play your cards right, they absolutely could have a serious juggernaut on their hands in the form of E-Day. And I believe that Gears of War E-Day will be the biggest Gears of War title of all time. It's not even going to be close. I think, you know, Gears of War Reloaded could technically be the biggest Gears of War title of all time, you know, just because it's coming on PlayStation as well as Xbox. And so now you're going from 30 million units or 35 million units, whatever it is that the Xbox Series X and S have sold, and you're going from that player base, and now you're expanding it to PlayStation 5, which has sold 75 million units. So you're going, I mean, you're more than doubling what you have currently in terms of player base, right? At least in terms of potential players that are going to jump into Gears of War Reloaded. And if they knock it out of the park, which I don't think it's going to get knocked out of the park immediately, but over the course of time, if they do the right thing and they listen to the community, that being the Coalition, I believe that people will get very excited for E-Day. Very excited. There's a lot weighing on Reloaded at this point in time, but I do think that there is a case for Gears of War E-Day certainly being the biggest Gears of War title of all time, but it could be something very special for the franchise. Do I think E-Day is going to be as coveted as Gears of War 2 or Gears of War 3, which I believe were the greatest Gears of War titles of all time? It's so early to tell. We haven't even seen gameplay or anything of that nature. The other thing that Gears of War Reloaded can do is it can market the Gears of War E-Day beta. Think of it like the beta is probably going to become available a number of months after the Gears, or I should say the Xbox Game Showcase in summer of 2026. So people will be able to get their hands on Gears of War E-Day probably relatively soon after the showcase. Maybe even at the showcase, they announce and release the beta. I mean, who knows? And that would be huge as well. And like I said, Gears of War Reloaded is designed to get us there. And maybe, just maybe, they announce a Gears of War 2 Reloaded, a Gears of War 3 Reloaded, in the next number of months or something of that nature, where they create like a Marcus Phoenix collection, which is what a lot of people have been asking for, what's been debated, and, you know, all of those things. But Anthony says, like, I will play it because I only play Gears, but will anyone else who's already beaten Ultimate Edition to death? That's a really good question. I mean, look, like I said, to an extent, it's for us who play Gears on a consistent basis because it's new, even though it's not. It, like, you know, enhanced graphics and things of that nature. But, and it's also somewhat of a kudos to the past once again. But it is designed to quench our thirst, those of us who have played all the Gears titles at this point. But it's also designed primarily to introduce PlayStation users who have never played Gears of War before to Gears and the universe and the franchise for the very first time. That's what it's designed for. So I believe that if they listen to the community, that being the coalition, they don't go radio silent, which we've been having this as a little bit of an issue as of late, guys, where the coalition has been very, what's the word? They're just radio silent a lot. And so I really think that the truth of the matter is that they need not only to knock it out of the park, but they need to be constantly collecting community feedback, updating things immediately, because that's what's ultimately going to push Gears of War Reloaded to get us to E-Day. And that's what the goal is. And so they're just going to have to really listen to the community on that. I mean, that's the bottom line. And so do I think that the coalition will do that? Well, it's a great question. The coalition's working on a lot of things. One of the things that they're working on outside of Gears of War Reloaded, of course, is Gears of War E-Day. But they're also helping Undead Labs work on State of Decay 3. So them as a studio, they're spread pretty thin, you know, across the games that they're working on personally, and then also helping and being an assist for other games within Xbox Game Studios, you know, kind of IPs. So ultimately, though, guys, am I excited for Reloaded? I am very excited about Reloaded. I really am. I mean, I know that a lot of people are kind of poo-pooing Gears of War Reloaded, and, you know, in a number of different, for a number of reasons, which we'll get to, but I believe that this is the start of something. You get a bunch of PlayStation players on board with the Gears of War franchise and the culture and what's kind of happening. And maybe you create servers just for PlayStation users so they're not put into a blender with the Xbox people. And then eventually crossplay, which, I mean, it sounds like they're going to have crossplay from the beginning, but if PlayStation users have the ability to kind of turn off crossplay, at least at first, so they can kind of get used to the mechanics, the story, play the campaign, things of that nature, and then gradually move into playing with Xbox people, because that's ultimately just going to make them better. You know, if you're starting to slowly get good at it and you're start crushing people on PlayStation, well, you're going to want the next challenge. Well, the real challenge is going to be going up against Xbox users. But the question is for all of you. What do you guys think about this? Gears of War Reloaded, is it a good thing, a bad thing? Do you think that it's going to have legs to get us to Gears of War E-Day, or do you think it's going to kind of fall flat, you know, within a month or two? Jump down to the comment section down below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down and out of the way, let's move into this. So there was a video that came out from Extra Father, who is a fellow YouTuber. And in his, he made a video where Gears of War Reloaded is doomed or something of that nature. And I wanted to talk about this because I thought the video was really well made. There's things I agree with, things I disagree with. So I kind of want to break down a couple of things that Extra Father kind of was explaining in his video about Gears of War Reloaded. And here's the first one. The first major thing that I thought was interesting, and he's not wrong in thinking this way, but Gears of War Reloaded is launching, obviously, guys, for the very first time, it's launching on crossplay, multi-platform, right? It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Well, you're introducing Gears of War Reloaded for the first time to a bunch of new users, a bunch of new players on PlayStation, because now you're opening it up to such a massive, player base. Well, Gears of War has been built on a few core features. Number one is, of course, the story, campaign. 2 is multiplayer. 3 is co-op. Now, I say co-op as it's, being built on co-op. However, Gears of War 1 did not have this. That being said, though, one of the things Extra Father did say was, hey, you're going to release Gears of War Reloaded on PlayStation, but it's not going to have Horde mode. It's not going to have Overrun. It's not going to have Beast mode. It's not going to have Hive Busters. It's not going to have any of these PvE features, which are cult classic staples of Gears of War. Part of me completely agrees with this statement. However, when you look at, okay, let me just pull this up here. Gears of War released to the world, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, hold on. Let me just pull this up here. It's crazy to think that it was 2006 when this game came out. It's unbelievable. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, here's where I'm wrong. The one thing I'm wrong about, guys, is that Gears of War 1, it did have co-op, but it had co-op campaign, right? What Extra Father is saying is that the not releasing Gears of War Reloaded on PlayStation with like Horde mode, Beast mode, Overrun, Hive Busters is not giving PlayStation users the full experience. On one hand, I totally agree with this, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, look, Gears of War 1 didn't have like these co-op modes. It had co-op campaign. So them adding it is going to take more resource development from the Coalition and what they're doing with E-Day and plugging it into Reloaded. Do I think that it should have it? I absolutely do. I absolutely think that they should release Reloaded with a Horde mode, just because Horde mode is the staple co-op mode. It just is. And when you're sick and tired of being put into a blender within Gears of War's multiplayer, you can go and play the co-op modes. You can go and play Horde mode. Beast mode was incredible in Gears of War 3. Overrun. Hive Busters was interesting in its own right. Not nearly as good as some of those other modes, though. But do I see why the Coalition didn't do it? I do. I do see where they're coming from, where it's like, well, it didn't have this, so why are we going to add it, take resource and development that it's going to take? Because they would basically have to completely make a Horde mode that's specifically based around Gears of War 1. And, that's going to take, instead of like kind of doing almost like a copy and paste of Gears of War back in 2006 just as a remaster, you're having to change a lot of things, right? Which is going to take a lot of time, a lot of resource, development, things of that nature. And so I understand it. But I understand the issue with it not having, some of those co-op modes. I do. I totally understand it. There were a couple other things that he brought up that were interesting to me. You know, one of those being just the simple fact that weapon balancing, at least in the beta, were broken. There were a number of items that were broken, hitboxes were broken in the beta, and I agree that it's an issue, right? However, it is a beta, you know, and that's the point. The purpose of a beta is yes, it's for us to get an opportunity to play the game, but it's actually more data collection for the developer. It's more like, hey, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What do we need to do different moving forward? And that's what a beta is for these developers, right? So I understand where he's coming from with the hitboxes and how off they were in a number of ways. Gears of War Reloaded, the beta, you know, it seemed like, at least to me, when playing the beta day to day to day, and then of course one weekend to the next weekend, it felt like there were certain things that were improved upon. Like it felt like movement improved each day, or like weekend over weekend. It felt like certain things did get improved. It felt like the coalition was doing some stuff. Like they were doing things to fix the beta in real time, day to day. Obviously, one of the biggest issues I had with the beta was just the amount of people that were having issues getting into the beta. Like that first day was terrible. Getting into the servers and stuff. That reminded me of like a Gears of War 2 type of situation, which it's good that they did the beta, because if they didn't do the beta and that happened on day one, like launch day, we would have real issues with Gears of War Reloaded, I'm telling you. But since they had the beta and those issues they were able to slowly fix over the course of like the first weekend to the second weekend, I felt that by the end, it felt like the experience made progress. It wasn't perfect. It was taking time, without question, for them to get some things right. But that's the purpose of a beta. At the end of the day, guys, it's for us to play the game, certainly, so we get a feel for what it's all like and the mechanics and things of that nature. But it's really for the developers, and from the perspective of data collection. The next thing, you know, that I thought was interesting, you know, Extra Father kind of mentioned that the coalition, you know, releasing Gears of War Reloaded and kind of marketing it as, you know, what it is without the co-op modes and stuff at a full price game, he didn't think was right. And I agree that if the game was releasing at like $70, which is what most of these, you know, AAA games are going for nowadays, I would agree that I think that is a terrible move. Like, I think, no, you should not be releasing it like that, a game that was released in 2006 at that price. But they're not doing that. It's like $40, you know? So I don't really agree with that element of it, where the price, I feel like we got to wait till the full game comes out, because if you're getting the campaign and it's remastered, you're getting the multiplayer experiences, and those are, you know, with enhanced graphics and all of those things. And then they have like a roadmap, whether it's, you know, depending on what they do for like monetization and things of that nature, whether, you know, I just want to see like a progression system. I want us to feel like we're earning stuff as we play the game. The more that we play, the more that we're earning within the game, whether it's weapon skins, characters, you know, emblems, icons, you know, things of that nature. That's what made Gears of War so incredible in the first place. I look back to Gears of War 3 and just, you know, ranking up the ranks, re-ups were so sick. You know, it just felt like they were kind of at the tip of the iceberg when it came to like the re-up icons. I felt like they could make some really cool re-ups. I thought Gears 5 had the worst re-ups on like of all time. I just thought like there was very little effort put into it. I thought Gears of War 4 was all right. Gears of War 3 I thought was great. I just want to see a heavier emphasis on those earnable items than the payable items. I want to see Gears of War kind of, yes, go back to an extent of what was, but at the same time, I also want them to start innovating even more. Like, I think of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009. They had all these really cool emblems and titles and all these different really cool things that you could earn. They had nothing that you were really paying for outside of DLC. So I thought it was really cool that it was all these earnable items. And the crazy thing about that was the earnable items, like the 10th Prestige Medallion, was so highly coveted that people were creating hacked and modded lobbies in order to boost up to those ranks. That's how coveted they were, because it was hard to get them. And I mean, I think of like Seriously 2.0, that's a grind to get, but I just think that you should be getting really cool stuff within the game for the hard work and the grind that you're putting into the game, because it brings you back to the experience over and over again. And so overall, I thought that the video was really good, guys, that Extra Father brought out as a fellow creator and stuff. I think overall he hit the nail on the head in a number of areas. It was just those few things where I slightly disagreed with, certainly, but and I also disagree that I do believe that Gears of War Reloaded is not doomed as long as the coalition listens to the community. Like, in terms of when there's an issue, say at launch, or there's an issue when, with weapon balancing or anything, get on it immediately. Don't wait, just grind through it, push through it, and fix the issues as they come up. We look at companies like CD Projekt Red and what they had to deal with when Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most anticipated games of all time, released early to please investors, and we saw what happened. People were returning their pre-orders, they were canceling them. It was really, really bad. But the developer, CD Projekt Red, had two decisions or two options. One was to scrap the game. The second was to lock in and make the game right. They locked in, made the game right, and I now believe that it's the greatest comeback story within gaming history, in my opinion. The only other comparison would be No Man's Sky, and I believe it's one of the greatest games ever made. Like, I think that they made it that great with the Phantom Liberty expansion, so on and so forth. And so I guess what I'm trying to, kind of just hopefully inspire is that if there are issues, just fix them, listen to the community. The community will lead you to where you need to go. And ultimately, if you listen to that community, there's going to be a really amazing light at the end of that tunnel. So that being said, though, guys, I'm excited for Reloaded. I can't wait for it. I mean, it's as a massive Gears of War fan, I believe in this franchise. I believe in what this thing can be. And I just want to see Gears of War succeed, Gears to be back for good. And I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And let me know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down and out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, just get a quick drink here. And I also wanted to thank all of the new followers, all of our new subscribers, new members. I really appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are the real MVPs. And you're the lifeblood of the Gears Cast. You're the lifeblood of this channel. You guys some of you are going over to our other channels like We're Animal, where we're talking about COD and Battlefield. Really grateful for you guys. And even our show on Horror Theory, which we talk about everything in the world of horror gaming, plus give you guys some insight into what that all means. And we do cover some Gears of War stuff over there. So I appreciate a lot of you guys. A lot of you are funneling over to some of our other channels. And so I'm just super, super grateful for all of those things. Let's move on to this. there was a question that came up in relation to Gears of War esports, Gears esports, specifically because the HCS, the Halo Championship Series, is now going to be put on a hiatus with Halo Infinite following Halo Worlds this year. So following that, there won't be other events put on by the HCS as they are preparing for Halo 7. The next Halo that's going to be coming out probably within the next, year, probably more likely 2 years away from the new Halo coming out. And it's led a lot of people to wondering, will Halo pros come over to Gears of War if Gears of War Reloaded reintroduces Gears esports? And I don't know, guys, if Gears esports is going to return with Gears of War Reloaded. I have my doubts, but I also have some optimism about it. Like, it could come back with Gears of War Reloaded, but more than likely Gears esports will come back with Gears of War E-Day. I think the most important thing, though, is for the Coalition not to relaunch Gears esports until the games, that being Gears of War Reloaded or Gears E-Day or both of them, whatever, are fully functional, like firing on all cylinders, and they're growing, month over month. I think that's going to be really important. When we talk about any esports scene, what investors, what teams want to see is growth over the course of time, a trajectory of growth. And whether that's viewership, whatever it is, right? So we're going to do our part. If there are, Gears events that start happening, Gears esports comes back, we're going to be doing our part, guys. You can bet your bottom dollar we will be out there creating content around that. But I think you've got to crawl before you walk, walk before you run before you sprint. I think it's kind of like that sort of trajectory over time with Gears esports, as well as like any other, any other feature within a title. I think that you got to just kind of take it in baby steps, because what Gears of War, the situation we're in there, is we've been kind of in this limbo state ever since Gears 5. And when they shut down supporting Gears 5, they shut down Gears esports. We've been in this hiatus, this limbo state. You don't just want to jump right back in to Gears esports. It sounds exciting, but why do it if the viewership is progressively kind of going downwards? Like, it's not on this upward trajectory. And so I think that Gears esports, do I believe it will return? I do. I feel more confident it's going to, come back within the lifespan of Gears of War E-Day. I don't think it's going to come back with Gears of War Reloaded unless it absolutely does monster numbers and they continue to support the title like in a major way where they're really listening to the community, engaging with players and player feedback, and the numbers keep going up. From a Twitch perspective, a content perspective, that's where I think we can see Gears of War really going to the next level. And like I said, I think what's important is if you're a massive fan of Gears, I think what we all have to do as a community is support one another, but also, like, if you're a pro player that plays Gears, creating content is going to be massive when it comes to Gears of War Reloaded. Streaming consistently is going to be massive for Gears of War Reloaded, and then of course into Gears of War E-Day. I mean, we know that we're getting Gears of War Reloaded, and we know we're getting Gears of War E-Day. So you have these two titles where it's like two shots at creating another pro scene, competitive scene within Gears. And so I just think we have got to, all of us have to play our part in helping to build the ecosystem once again for Gears of War and making sure that it stays for the long term. The Coalition has to do their part, but we as creators, we as players, as pro players have got to do our part as well. The Coalition isn't going to be able to do everything on their own. We're not going to be able to do everything on our own. So it's like a partnership that we have to have where content's being created. There has to be consistent, content that's coming out for Gears of War Reloaded, Gears of War E-Day, things to talk about, things to be excited about, things to get hyped about. over the course of the year, and then the next year, and then the next year. And so I think that we definitely are going to have a wave with Gears of War Reloaded. The question is how long can we continue to go upward in an upward trajectory? We don't want to see where it spikes and then, you know, come September, October, November, like by Christmas time, it starts to dip off. And then after Christmas, it really dips off. We got to see consistent growth over time. And that's going to be partially on the Coalition and partially on us. But I believe that Gears of War E-Day will be the giggest. I believe that Gears of War E-Day will be the biggest Gears of War title of all time. It won't even be close because it's going to be introduced for the first time to, you know, PlayStation users of a new Gears of War title. I mean, yes, they're going to be getting Gears of War Reloaded, which there's a possibility that Gears of War Reloaded will be the biggest Gears ever made. But Gears of War E-Day, there's a lot riding on Gears of War Reloaded, but there's even more riding on Gears of War E-Day being absolutely knocked out of the park. And I believe that the Coalition will knock Gears of War E-Day out of the park. But they've got to do the right thing after the game releases. Just from the trailer alone, I'm sold. I'm bought in. I'm all in on Gears, guys. We're going to be creating a ton of content here on the YouTube channel. We're going to be streaming a lot. Like, I'm very excited about the future of Gears, but obviously there's certainly concern about a number of things within Gears of War Reloaded, and of course Gears of War E-Day as well. There's obviously going to be some concerns as well as optimism. So that is the great circle of gaming, right? I think that there's going to be pros and cons with all of these things, and I'm here for it, guys. I'm here for the ride. I've believed in Gears of War ever since I got Gears of War 1 with my 360 in 2006. I actually saved up the entire summer to get Gears of... I should say I saved an entire summer of working to buy my first 360. And it came with Gears of War. It just so happened to come with Gears of War. I had no idea what it was. But once I started playing that game, I was hooked on this franchise. And all I want is to see the success of this franchise. Do I believe it'll be as big as Call of Duty? Do I believe that it will be as big as, you know, some of these other titles out there? No. But I believe that Gears of War can see if it's managed properly and we as the community do our part, it will withstand the test of time and it will consistently continue, you know, pushing to the next level. So super excited about it, man. I'm excited about Gears as a franchise, even though I have some hesitancy. But the question is for all of you, what do you guys think about the future of Gears of War? Excited about it? Concerned about it? Gears Esports? Do you think it will return with Reloaded or E-Day? Jump down in the comment section down below and let us know your thoughts. And with that down and out of the way, let's jump into this. Hotshot takes his make up your mind, homie. Hey, you make up your mind, Hotshot. But in all seriousness, you know, like, one of the games, we're going to kind of go a little bit off topic here from Gears for a second. Because the recent news that came out, the recent report that came out, that Gears of War E-Day, as well as other games, State of Decay 3, as well as Halo 7, will be releasing day one on PlayStation 5, as well as the Nintendo Switch 2. Which is wild, man. It's absolutely wild that we are going to be getting Gears of War E-Day on the PlayStation 5 as well as the Switch 2. Crazy. But then State of Decay 3 we're also getting on PlayStation 5, if the reports are true, as well as the Switch 2. Which I think that State of Decay 3 will be able to probably... More than likely, they'll be able to create on the Switch 2, it'll probably run okay. Gears of War E-Day, though, on the Switch 2, I don't know, man. That's going to be an interesting one. And do I like the idea of Gears of War E-Day going to Switch? I do. I think it's going to be great because, once again, we're talking Gears of War E-Day is going to be the biggest Gears of all time just by it going to PlayStation. But if you add it on the Switch, I mean, brother, I'm telling you, it is going to be absolutely monstrous. Like, huge. Like, think of all the Gears heads that now, you know, they don't really play games much anymore, but they grew up on Gears, and now they have families, and so they bought the Switch too, and then they find out Gears of War E-Day's coming to the Switch too. Dude, I got to get back into playing some Gears. They buy it on the Switch too. I mean, I can totally see that happening. And with the Switch 2 selling like 125 million units or something, PlayStation 5 has sold 75 million units, and the smallest console, that being, you know, the Xbox Series X and S, only selling like 30 million units. Bro, I'm telling you, Gears of War E-Day is in for a massive spike in viewership. I just hope that it can handle on Switch 2 without question. Now, Jeannie Love says if it can run on Xbox Series S, it can run on Switch 2. Yeah, hopefully it runs properly. I just hope they don't have see, when you start dabbing into like you have a studio like the Coalition that has only been focused on working on a game for one console or one specific console, and now you're expanding it not only to PlayStation but also to the Switch. It's like we already saw issues with Reloaded during the beta of, you know, people trying to come in, and there was issues with the lobbies and things of that nature, and you're trying to do cross-play, and then you're adding now another element to that with the Switch. Maybe Gears of War Reloaded will be a good, you know, test subject for that. Who knows? It's hard to say, but I'm hoping that I'm truly hoping that if Gears of War E-Day and State of Decay 3 can run properly on the Switch 2, they are going to be, I'm telling you, monster games. Absolutely huge when it comes to E-Day. I think E-Day will absolutely crush every sales chart that we've seen from Gears of War so far, you know, up to this point in its history. State of Decay, I think, is going to be a well-known gaming flagship IP after State of Decay 3 releases, if it releases successfully, like where there's not a ton of issues at launch on the PlayStation, the Switch 2, as well as the Xbox. I just, I'm super excited about it. But nonetheless, State of Decay 3, though, guys, specifically, I think there was a lot of question marks whether or not, you know, and we're going to kind of tie this back to Gears here in a minute. State of Decay 3, from the very first trailer to the second trailer, first trailer came out back in 2020, and then we've got the new trailer, trailer 2, that came out in 2024 at the Xbox Game Showcase, and it was drastically different. The first one, there was this real emphasis on, like, they're going to be changing the climate somewhat in State of Decay 3. You're going to have snow. And then on top of that, you're going to be going up against, you know, zombie animals. And then with State of Decay 3's second trailer that released, we didn't see any zombie animals. We saw a lot of the same from the first two games. The difference, though, was the graphics. The graphic fidelity perspective looked incredible and things of that nature. But I think that when I look at just the trajectory of what was back in 2020 for State of Decay 3 to what is with State of Decay 3, you know, now, I gotta tell you, I liked the first trailer. I liked the idea, I should say, of the first trailer more than the second trailer. I just do. I liked the idea of the zombie animals and things of that nature. And that's what we got. And in that first trailer, now the second one, it looks different, right? Obviously, graphically, it looks incredible. Well, how does this relate to Gears? Well, Gears of War E-Day's first trailer looked absolutely incredible. Came out once again, 2024 Xbox Game Showcase. Looks awesome. Looks incredible. But is the second trailer going to be different? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Undead Labs, which is an Xbox game studio, they're doing State of Decay 3, right? They are, and they didn't do the first trailer. They did the second one. But what I'm saying is we saw some drastic changes from that first trailer to second trailer. The Coalition, another Xbox game studio, is working on Gears of War Reloaded, Gears of War E-Day. Will there be a drastic change from trailer 1 to trailer 2 for Gears of War E-Day, similar to what we saw with State of Decay 3? Now, the short answer is, and also, remember this, Gears of War's developer, that being the Coalition, is also helping Undead Labs with State of Decay. So they're helping out State of Decay 3, and so they're definitely a tight group. Like there's a lot of, those studios are talking, they're working together, so on and so forth. And so what I'm saying is, could Gears of War E-Day's initial trailer be completely different from the second trailer that comes out, say at the Xbox Game Showcase next year? I have a hunch it's going to be similar, and I'm hoping it is, because that first trailer was incredible. And I'm hoping that we get, obviously a gameplay trailer, things of that nature with E-Day. But it does beg the question, will Gears of War E-Day's first trailer to the second trailer change like it did with State of Decay 3's trailer 1 to trailer 2? That's a question, and it leads me to, will State of Decay 3's third trailer change again? Because we're probably going to get an update on State of Decay 3 at the Xbox Game Showcase in 2026, where Gears of War E-Day will be the direct following the Xbox Game Showcase next year. It's going to be an interesting ordeal, guys, and I'm going to cover it top to bottom for each and every one of you. The question is for all of you, though, will the trailer 2 to trailer 3 change once again for State of Decay 3? And will trailer 1 to 2 change for Gears of War E-Day? Jump down to the comment section down below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Hotshot Takes is definitely... Okay, you heard of Gears of War? I mean, I don't know what this guy's talking about. This guy's a great... Antoine Sheridan, 68 gigabytes on Xbox is crazy. I don't know what you're alluding to, if that is probably Gears of War Reloaded. I don't know. I haven't seen the news how many gigs it's going to be, bro. But if it's 68 gigs, yeah, that's pretty wild. I hope it's worth the investment in space, because it's about to crush our hard drives without question. But think of it like this. It's not, that is child's play compared to what Call of Duty's been doing with Black Ops 6 and what more than likely is coming with Black Ops 7. I just got the update for Gear. Oh my God. Well, bro, 68 gigs is, I agree with you, it's a lot, but guess what? Maybe it's a good thing. I mean, could it mean that they're adding a bunch of things to Gears of War Reloaded that we don't know about yet until launch? I don't know. I mean, it might be a good thing. I mean, I look at Call of Duty and we're talking over 100 gigs. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's different, right? Because Call of Duty is huge, a much larger game and franchise, but still, I mean, dude, that's a lot of storage space. But you can bet your ass, bro, I'm Gears of War Reloaded. I mean, dude, I'll delete everything off of my hard drive in order to play that game when it comes out, because that's, I mean, that is the game, right? That we're going to be playing now for, I'll be streaming it like crazy here. I'm going to be we're going to be covering it top to bottom here on the YouTube channel, guys. Everybody can get the update right now. I just got my update. Okay. No way. I didn't even know that. That's interesting. Wait, so it's an update on the Xbox? Or like, because you can't pre-download it yet, can you? That's super interesting. Battlefield 6, more graphic. Yeah, Battlefield 6 looks great. I'm going to talk about that here in a sec because obviously, you know, we want to talk about Gears, guys, but I got to talk about a couple of these other games that are coming. This massive first-person shooter slugfest is about to happen this year, and I think that we definitely need to talk about it. I think that there's on this YouTube channel, I have covered Call of Duty, you know, a lot on the channel. I've covered, you know, Battlefield, but in a definitely a less way. I definitely covered a lot of Titanfall on the YouTube channel. I've covered a lot of, like, with COD and Battlefield, or I should say Titanfall. I've covered a lot of I've covered a lot more, like, the future of COD. So, like, for example, Call of Duty Ghost 2. You know, they've never made a Ghost 2, so I've talked about Ghost 2 a lot on the channel. I've talked a lot about Titanfall 3, because we never got that. Battlefield 6, The King, till GTA 6. I disagree. It will not be bigger than Call of Duty for one simple reason, bro, and that's Game Pass. Call of Duty will be, even if Battlefield 6 is way better, which I think it probably, I mean, at least from the looks of it, the Call of Duty reveal trailer was the worst Call of Duty reveal trailer that has ever been produced. I thought it was absolute trash. But it will be bigger than Battlefield 6, I promise you. Because on day one, everybody's going to be, who has an Xbox is going to be able to download it day one on Game Pass. So the numbers for Call of Duty will be way bigger. And the second reason is if you look at the trailer for Call of Duty, that abysmal trailer has over 40 million views. Battlefield 6's reveal, I don't even know if it has 10 million views yet. They're on two totally different stratospheres. But GTA 6 will be the biggest game on planet Earth for probably the next 3 to 5 years, without question. It will absolutely break the internet. Antoine says, yes, you can download right now. Dude, I got to set a reminder right now, bro. I'm doing it right now. Because when I get home, dude, when I get home, I am pre-downloading it for sure. Dude, wait, hold up. I want to check something really quick. Because now you brought up a really good point. Bro, GD's in the chat from my dude, Antoine. You're right, bro. You can pre-download Gears of War Reloaded. It's available for pre-installation on Xbox consoles and PC through the Xbox app. For PC, it's included with Game Pass. You can also pre-order the game to gain early access to the mall, blah, 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 blah. This video, okay, whatever, about the video. But, dude, that's killer. Okay, so we're getting off track here, but I think that's awesome. Anyways, Battlefield 6 will marry me, blah, take over. Yeah, dude, this guy, I love this guy. This guy's going to be the troll of the chat. It's awesome, dude. I love it. But here's the deal. While we're talking about Battlefield 6, Call of Duty and stuff, Black Ops 7, by the way, revealed a new image. It's a girl who, I'm from the looks of it, it almost to an extent looks like the girl that was in the trailer that was like the hologram. And at first I thought it was Cortana from Halo, just with tattoos. I was like, bro, this is the new Halo? Is this the new Mass Effect? And then I was like, wait a minute, is this a Stranger Things game? And then all of a sudden, it's Call of Duty. And I was like, okay. That was the worst Call of Duty reveal trailer I have ever witnessed, experienced, seen, produced, ever. It has no bearing on whether or not Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will be a good, bad, or great game. Call of Duty is an absolute juggernaut. And the reality is, guys, do I like the image that just came out from Call of Duty? I think it looks cool. I do. I think it looks cool. I think it looks cooler than the first one that they brought out. But do I think that they're just going to do the same thing that they've been doing? That being Activision, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, all these different studios, and kind of continue down this trajectory of getting away from the military shooter and more so being like a Fortnite FPS is kind of the gist of what I'm getting with all the different collabs that they're doing. Beavis and Butthead. American Dad. All these different collabs they're doing. Obviously, guys, they're trying to be the Fortnite of FPS. That's what Call of Duty's doing. Battlefield 6 is the military shooter that we've all been wanting, right? When I say we, I mean the old COD heads. The guys and girls who loved the OG Call of Duties, Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, MW3, COD 4, that was the golden years of COD, where it was earnable items over payable items. Now, it's totally changed. But that being said, Call of Duty is still going to do massive numbers. And the way we know this is because that reveal trailer got over 40 million views. Battlefield 6, for context, I don't even know if it's broken 10 million views. I'm going to check right now. Guys, just take a quick look. At the time of this recording, guys, Battlefield 6, the reveal. Okay, the official multiplayer gameplay trailer right now is 4.7 million views, which is awesome. I love that it's got that many. But where is... Okay. It hasn't even broken 10 million views, bro. At the time of this recording, Battlefield 6 has 9.3 million views with the official reveal trailer. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, bro. There's just levels to this thing. And, Jeff made a really good point when we were doing our last episode of Horror Theory. He had mentioned that one of the things with that's helping Call of Duty right now is that Call of Duty is coming off of a pretty big win with Black Ops 6. Overall, there was some, really bad hacking situations, cheating, things of that nature. But Black Ops 6, overall, people really enjoyed. Battlefield, the last game that we got was 2042, and that kind of left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. So Call of Duty's kind of got somewhat of a one-up on them, but at the same time, Call of Duty has just such a massive, ravenous fan base because, one, they're coming out with a new COD every year. They try to, I had told Jeff, I said, look, I really believe that it will be studied how Call of Duty and the developers, publisher, were able to create a new COD every single year and make it different from the last one. Sure, the overall mechanics kind of feel the same and things of that nature, but you went from boots on the ground to jetpacks, back to boots on the ground, World War II era, modern day, futuristic, they're all over the place, And somehow they're still creating a compelling experience for people. That's why Call of Duty is so huge. But Battlefield 6, the reason why this is very promising with Battlefield 6 is because of one guy, Vince Impella. Vince Impella, guys, for those of you who don't know, worked on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009. Him and Jason West. When they split from Infinity Ward and went their separate directions, Vince Impella went to EA, started working on Titanfall. He created Titanfall. Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2. Call of Duty copied Titanfall within the Jetpack era. Vince Impella then, of course, started working on the Jedi games with Respawn Entertainment. Created those third-person, Star Wars titles. Apex Legends, a BR, which is still popular to this day. And now he's working on Battlefield 6. And guess what Battlefield 6 reminds me of, guys? I look at that trailer and it reminds me of Battlefield 3, certainly, which I believe was the greatest battlefield of all time. Definitely reminds me of that. But it also reminds me of Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009. Just with enhanced graphics, massive destructible environments. But it reminds me of Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009. And Battlefield 3, which are two games I'm like, bro, I'm sold, I'm in. So I'm very excited for Battlefield 6. We're going to be getting our hands on that beta here shortly. But the question is, for all of you, do you think Battlefield 6 stands any chance to become the king of the FPS genre against Call of Duty Black Ops 7? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in that comment section down below, and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I want to sit here and I want to just say, Jeannie Love says, wish I could on PS5. Yeah, so PS5, it might be a good year to play Gears of War Reloaded on the PS5, just because you're going to be playing up against a lot of new people coming into the Gears of War universe. I'm just wondering if they're going to have crossplay turned, you can turn off crossplay so that you just play against other PlayStation people. That would be cool. So then you're not just being put into a blender immediately, especially the people who have been playing tons of Gears of War on Xbox. If I'm on PlayStation and I'm playing Gears for the first time, the last thing I want is to get absolutely mauled in the servers against Xbox people who have 20 years on me, you know what I mean, of playing the game. And so, I don't know. I think that I would love to see them have a feature, kind of like what Battlefield 6 is doing, where you can turn off crossplay. I think that's pretty cool, where you don't have to play against PC people or you don't have to play against Xbox people if you're on the PlayStation or vice versa. I think that's a really interesting concept. I love that, and I hope that that is something that the Coalition does for Gears of War Reloaded, because, maybe you want to just kind of play through the campaign, get used to the mechanics, then you go into the multiplayer and you start grinding away at it, and as you get better and better, it's like, okay, now I want to level up my game, now I want to go up against the the Xbox players, and then you're able to turn that on or off, right? So having crossplay within Gears of War Reloaded, being able to kind of flip it as a switch on or off, I think would be kind of cool. Oh, can you actually turn off crossplay? No way. I didn't know that. That's a cheat code, to be totally honest with you. I think that is going to be massive, especially for people, like I said, for the players that are not, because you don't want to turn people off from the game, right? Because it's a great game at its core. There's a reason why it's the flagship game for Xbox. You could argue Halo, But Gears is a flagship IP for Xbox, one of the biggest Xbox, what was an exclusive of all time. And so you want people to be able to experience it without getting super frustrated. And it's unfortunate that we're not going to have a Horde mode or something of that nature with Reloaded, because then you would get that full experience. You can turn off crossplay though. That is an absolute cheat code for PlayStation users. Cheat code. I love it. I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. So yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in for the PlayStation users to experience Gears of War, a lot of them for the very first time ever. And I want them to have an incredible experience. I just do, because my experience with Gears of War 1 back in 2006, when I got it that summer, it really changed my life in a number of ways. It actually got me to want to create content. And I really didn't start creating content on YouTube until Modern Warfare 2 in 2009. That's kind of when I really started to kind of dive into creating content. And the content we were creating was trick shotting within Call of Duty. And so with Gears now, it's like, okay, what are the things that we can do different that nobody else is doing? And that's one of the things I want all of you out there that are listening to this. What's really important is if you're passionate about Gears of War, when Gears of War Reloaded comes out, make some content about it. Talk about it in forums. Support your favorite creators. We got to support one another. We're only going to go as far as we as the community take it. And then, of course, the coalition, they got to do their part. But we also have to do our part. If you're a pro player and you play Gears of War or have played Gears of War professionally, bro, this is a great opportunity to build a following on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever, because people are going to love to watch you because you have a God-given ability with the sticks, right? So, like, I would just challenge you to create content, support your favorite creators. We've got to do our thing. I'm going to do my thing, guys. I'm going to be streaming a lot, creating content top to bottom, covering Gears of War Reloaded. Of course, Gears of War E-Day, Gears Esports with the hope that it returns at some point. But we as a community have got to really come together with this thing, man. Like, we just got to. It's so integral and important that this thing, grows to the next level. Jeannie says, I turned off crossplay the second day of the beta. There were still people way better than me. I also know some other people on PS5 that played the original trilogy. Yeah, that's awesome. But see, here's the thing about that, Jeannie, that's awesome, is you turned it off the second day. And yeah, there's going to be people, obviously, that are going to, especially if you aren't able to put as much time in as, some of these other Gears heads have for so long, decades at this point. What's cool about that is you can kind of decide when is the right time for you to try to level up your game. Because you know that when you turn on the crossplay against Xbox people, you're going to be going up against some fierce competition, which is also going to help you elevate your game to the next level. So by the time that Gears of War E-Day comes out, you're already way ahead of the curve, and you'll be able to crush a lot of the PlayStation users, and then who knows where it could go against like the Xbox people as well. And that's what's so awesome. I'm so excited that a lot of the PlayStation users are going to be able to get an opportunity to experience a launch with Xbox people where we've been kind of just by ourselves up to this point, not really sharing Gears with anybody. But now Gears of War E-Day will be the first title that we as Xbox users and PlayStation users get to join in celebration for this incredible franchise that we've all fallen in love with, over the years. And we just want to see the success of Gears in the future. That's what we want to see. We want to see the growth of this thing. And I think it's going to take all of us. It's going to take the PlayStation community. It's going to take the Xbox community to continue doing what we do in order to see this thing go to that next level that we believe it can get to. But yeah. And don't get me started. But don't get me started about the unfortunate ordeals of like, Gears of War Reloaded not having Horde mode, Beast mode, Hive Busters. I get it, man. It's frustrating. It's tough. But the original Gears of War didn't have it. So why are they going to deploy resource and development into creating a all-new Horde mode in a game that's remastered that came out in 2006 when they need to be focusing a lot of their resource and development on E-Day, Because I've seen that argument a lot within the community lately is, they're releasing it on PlayStation, but they're not getting the full experience. I understand where people are coming from with that. And my answer to that would have been, well, the Coalition probably should have just released the Marcus Phoenix collection or the Gears collection, which would have had 1, 2, and 3. So then PlayStation users would have been able to play all 3 of them and get to experience all 3, like the trilogy, as well as Horde mode, as well as Beast mode in Gears 3. But look, the good news is that Gears of War was in this hiatus, this limbo state, this potential state of no return. But guess what, guys? Gears is coming back. And it's launch month this month. Like this month, August 26th, guys. I mean, we're in the launch month. It's time, dude. Like, we're about to be able to grind out this game, and I'm super excited about that. I think this is the time to get excited if you're a Gears of War fan, because we're very close to the launch day. And I mean, no more betas, none of that. All that's coming is Reloaded as a launch on August 26th. I'm even talking, it's kind of interesting, guys, I'm talking about doing tournaments in Zero Dark in relation to Gears of War Reloaded. On launch day, having like a day 1 tournament in here and doing all kinds of different, like, we want to put on like community events. I'd love to put on community tournaments. I would love to do those types of things. Coalition, if the Coalition's listening to this, yo, let's get in touch about putting on some tournaments immediately for Gears of War Reloaded, putting on some stuff, for Gears of War E-Day when that comes out. It's up to us, guys, as the community to grow the scene. Because not only do we want Gears of War E-Day to survive, we want it to thrive. 3 more weeks. Let's go. Let's go, dude. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost there. And when it gets here, it's up to us. Yes, we've got to voice our opinion to the developers. We've got to tell them when there's things that are wrong, there's things that are right, things that need to be done differently. The Coalition needs to respond to those things in a timely manner, fixing any bugs, glitches, weapon balancing, hitboxes not being correct, whatever it is, creating, like collabs, which, oh, by the way, one of the things that's interesting about this is Helldivers 2 is releasing the same day as Gears of War Reloaded, which is a problem, in my opinion, because it's almost like they're both going to, like, overshadow one another, or there could be collusion happening here with Xbox and Sony, or PlayStation, where they're like, yo, we'll release Gears of War Reloaded on PlayStation the same day as Helldivers 2 comes to Xbox, and by doing that, we can create like cross collabs within the universes. Like maybe there'll be some weapon skins within Helldivers 2 from Gears, vice versa for Gears of War with Helldivers. It's going to be really interesting. I'm concerned about that, cautiously optimistic about those 2 games releasing on the same day, but that's neither here nor there. I hope they tell us they've done stuff since the beta for the PvP. I'm still worried about the hitboxes. Yeah, 100%. I'm worried about the hitboxes. To be quite honest with you, I'm more concerned about the matchmaking. I just want the matchmaking. I don't want you to have to sit in lobbies for hours on end waiting, to get in. Because then people are going to bounce, move on to the next game. They're not even going to wait. People have such an issue with patience nowadays, especially now more than ever. And I think it's very, very crucial and important, integral, that if there's issues with matchmaking, it is fixed day 1 Hitboxes need to be fixed, you know, day 2. Like, fix these things quickly. I wonder if it has to do with pushing 120 frames per second. Maybe. I feel like they've had time, though, to get those things, you know, polished and refined and, you know, running it on 120 frames per second. I don't know. But if you're going to promote your game as 120 frames per second, but it makes the hitbox, it fucks up the hitboxes, it doesn't make sense to me. You know, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that that's not an issue at launch, but we'll have to kind of wait and see when the game fully releases. But yeah, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Gears is almost back, and with that is going to come a ton of content from us. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, as always, for all your support, all the things that you guys have been doing, you know, jumping into the comment section, you know, supporting the channel, subscribing, becoming members of the channel. I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you, for everything that you guys are doing for me, for us, like what we're building, like Gears of War. And I really should say that my channel and Animal and Horror Theory and all the stuff that we're doing, you guys are the lifeblood of what we're doing, of the content that we're doing. And so I'm just really grateful for each and every one of you for being here, supporting the channels, supporting what we're doing. And it's almost here, guys. And I promise that more content is coming. A lot of content is coming. A lot of streams, a lot of videos. Grateful for each and every one of you. But let's go, guys. Let's do it. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the Gears Cast, make sure that you leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you guys very soon.